Okay, so I got a couple of packages today that were delivered, one from the mail and one from Federal Express. And the one I got from the mail is this really cool Darkseid t-shirt. Darkseid from the Snyder cut of Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the only Justice League movie that I currently acknowledge. The real Justice League movie before Warner Brothers got Joss Whedon to screw it up. And this was a gift from my good friend Chuck Porterfield, and that's actually pretty fitting because he's going to get another mention in another video that I'm shooting today. Because I'm going to do all three of these figures today, and I'm going to parcel them out over the next few days. So uh, that way I'll have content spread out over the next few days. And I've wound up with a backlog of videos again, so I'm going to try to put some up today, which means that you're probably seeing this like a week or so in the future. but but I'm really excited about these figures. I'd pre-ordered them from Big Bad Toy Store a while back, and today they arrived along with one other figure that I'm not gonna do an unboxing video of because I've already done an unboxing video of Sergeant Slaughter from Action Force. But I got a second one, so that's going to be good for customs. I think I'm going to take this one and repaint him into one of the other G.I. Joe variants. I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to do the version 1, where it has the USA on his chest, and black pants with a G.I. Joe stripe down the leg, or if I'm going to do Slaughter's Marauders. I haven't decided yet. So, but one of those two I'm going to do. Anyway, like I said, I'm not opening Sergeant Slaughter today. I just wanted to, mention that I got that. Today, I'm going to be opening Flash Gordon. Yeah, uh, everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Flash Gordon. I've made a video of a few different Flash Gordon figures, including one that's very similar to this, and I have him right here. That's the one that came on the vintage card, inspired by the Mattel action figure from the 70s with the silver boots and everything. So the figure itself is almost identical. Like, you can see it's very similar. There's some paint differences. But the sculpt's going to be the same. And if you remember my video reviewing this one, my complaint about it was that I wished it had come with a lot more accessories. And this one actually comes with those accessories that I wanted. So, yeah. There we go. So, let's have a look at the packaging. And we can see the name of the line is King features the original superheroes. Flash Gordon, 33 points of articulation. King of the Impossible, just like it says in the theme song from the Sam J. Jones movie. Ah, he acknowledged it. So, but yeah, there's a nice piece of artwork here. It is not a piece of artwork that's done by Alex Raymond. This is obviously a more modern comic book artist. I don't know who it is yet. They might have a credit on here, because a lot of times Neca will put credits on their packaging, so they might have an art credit on here. Let's see. Product development, Randy Falk. Any relation to Lee Falk? Sculpting, illustration, and packaging, DeJour J. I'm sorry. There's a lot of D's and J's next to each other. It looks like it's some kind of Eastern European name, so I'm probably butchering it completely. George Djokovic. Djokovic, is that how you say that? Like a Joe, like with a D and a J. George Djokovic. I'm Djokovic with a C at the end. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, dude, because you did a really awesome job on this, and you deserve some credit. Uh, the packaging artwork is really awesome. I really like it. Like I said, it's obviously a more modern style than Alex Raymond, but it definitely has that Alex Raymond influence to it. And I kind of feel like that's appropriate because the figure itself is very faithful to Alex Raymond, but still has a more modern flair. Let's read the rest of these credits, because I want to give credit where credit is due. Paint, John Wardell and Jeffrey Trapp. Prototypes, TrueCast Studios. And photography, Stephen Mazurek. And again, I apologize if I mispronounce any of those names. I hate to mispronounce people's names. I hate it when my name is mispronounced. It's only 4 letters. How did you get that wrong? B-E-L-K. Easy. Like the store. Come on. So then we got, again, this logo on the side that says the original superheroes. And I think that is an appropriate name for this line, considering how Flash Gordon himself is a very influential character. Influenced characters like Superman, Batman, Luke Skywalker. Like a lot of characters owe a debt to Flash Gordon. Even the ones that weren't directly inspired by Flash Gordon. If you were inspired by Superman or Batman, or Luke Skywalker, in a roundabout way, you were still influenced by Flash Gordon. So yeah, he was a superhero before Superman made the term superhero necessary to create. And it does say he's number 2 on here. So I want to take a quick peek at the other figures in the line. Ming is number 3. And I'm guessing that means that the Ghost Who Walks himself, the Phantom, is number 1. So if we're going by the order on the boxes, I should probably open the Phantom first, but I'm not going to. I'm going to open Flash Gordon first. I figure there's no better way to start with it than with Flash Gordon. He probably actually should have been number 1 in this series, since, it's really a Flash Gordon series that has the Phantom in it. I mean, if we're being real about it, because there's 3 figures, one of whom is Flash Gordon, the other of whom is the Phantom, and the third of which is Flash Gordon's arch enemy. So you have 3 figures, 2 of which are connected to Flash Gordon, and then one of which is the Phantom. So it's really Flash Gordon's line. And I've got to imagine if they do any other characters, they'll probably do more Flash Gordon characters before they do more Phantom characters. I mean, I guess they could do Kabal Singh or something. I'd like to have a Diane Palmer figure. She was a pretty adventurous gal. But they probably do Dale Arden or even Princess Aura before they do Diane Palmer. Hell, I'd like to have Princess Aura the most of the 3. I like her an awful lot. So let's go ahead and slice a single piece of tape at the bottom here, and then it very easily opens up. Neca is known for having very collector-friendly packaging, so I should be able to put them right back in the packaging once, if I so choose. So, but man, that's a nice artwork, and they even it's not done in such a way where it looks like digital art. I figure they probably colored it digitally, but it looks almost like watercolors. It's very painterly, so that's really cool. And for those of you wondering, no, the box isn't dinged up. It's supposed to have that sort of aged vintage look, like an old t-shirt. Like how they did old t-shirts a while back. I don't know if they do that anymore. Do they do that anymore? I haven't bought a t-shirt in a while. I don't remember the last time I bought a t-shirt where it was supposed to look aged like that. Alright, so we got this piece of plastic here. I'm not going to bother to pull that all the way off, because I don't think I have to. It looks like I might. He's got quite a bit of accessories. We're going to get into that right now. So he's got some pew-pews, which are always nice to have. And here is a long pew-pew, where you can see the pew-pew at this end plugs onto the gun. And then over at this other end, we have this impact. So when he fires his gun, the pew-pew can hit the whatever he's shooting at. Like he's blasting Ming, then we can have the ray blast hit Ming. And then there's a smaller pew-pew that we can just put on the end of the gun for dramatic effect. And then we have a set of extra hands, which these are the hands that I'm going to put on the figure. And we have a gripping hand, clearly intended to grip a sword. And then we have another gripping hand that's clearly intended to grip a blaster, because it's got the trigger finger and everything. So that should be the hand that also came with this Flash Gordon. And unfortunately, he did not come with a gripping hand for the other hand, because he only had one accessory anyway. So I guess they figured that made sense. But I'd rather a figure had 2 gripping hands. I don't care how many accessories it comes with. And then we have this Flash Gordon head, very handsome, heroic looking head with wavy blonde hair. And if you've seen the video where I'm talking about the other Flash Gordon, this is pretty much the same head. There might be some slight paint differences, but it's definitely the same sculpt. Yeah, I think the paint differences are just ever so slightly different. Let me see if I can get it where we can see both of them next to each other. And you can see that the original Superheroes version, I think it's coming across on the camera. It looks like his eyebrows are like a slightly darker shade of tan, and the paint around the eyes seems a little sharper to me too. Like, it's a little more soft on this one, and like a little bit more intense expression on the eyes on this one. Basically, just kind of this same paint job, but kind of pumped up to 11. His eyes have like a little bit more of an intensity to them. I think that's probably because, again, like they probably used a slightly darker shade than what they used on the eyelashes of this one. And also his lips are like a slightly darker shade too. So yeah, if you hold them next to each other, they are painted like in a little bit of a different way, but it still looks like the same guy. So it still basically looks like the same guy in a different outfit. So, and then so many accessories in here. So let's get the rest of them out. So basically, it's got like another little tray here that holds them in, and that's taped into the package. And I find this much less annoying than dealing with little plastic tabs and little, actually taping the accessories into the package. I guess it probably, costs them a little bit more to do it this way, because you're dealing with an entire different piece of vacuum-formed plastic. But I appreciate that, they went that extra mile to keep us from getting, the frustration of plastic tabs or twist ties, and also, getting gummy tape residue all over our new toys. So that's really cool of NECA to do that. So here is the Ray Blaster, whatever you want to call it, ray gun, blaster, laser gun, it's got like a really nice kind of metallic blue color scheme that it's painted. And like I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but trust me, it looks nice. And I do believe that that is the same sculpt as the ray gun that, yes indeed, that's the same sculpt as the ray gun that came with this Flash Gordon. Only you can see this one's silver. Which I believe that the original Mattel figure that was based off of, it was white. So, so a little more realistic on that one. And then we have a sword, which is a weapon that I wish that Flash Gordon had. To me, Flash should always have a sword. And I believe that this is the same sculpt as a figure that I do not have, which is NECA's Defenders of the Earth Flash Gordon figure. I believe that this is the same sculpt as that one, only that one is cast in like a translucent yellow plastic, almost to look like, I don't want to say the word lightsaber, but like some kind of energy blade of some sort. But this one is silver. It's clearly just supposed to be metal. It's pretty cool. I like it. I'll set that aside. And then the last accessory we have in here is this sheath for his sword. We'll see how well that fits together in a minute. So now that I have all the accessories out of the package, I'm going to remove Flash Gordon himself. And he's nice and deep in there. He does have a twist tie holding him in. Come on, NECA. You are doing so well. So not only does he have a twist tie holding him, but it's one of those really annoying twists to the twist tie, where like they have the twist tie twisted back around where it's twisted, so then you kind of have to untwist it twice, and that's just the absolute worst. Hopefully that did not mar the beautiful paint job of this figure that I've been admiring. He's got another, oh my god, it's the evil plastic tabs. Neca, how could you? Ow! So I just stabbed myself in the thumb. Ouch. I have drawn blood for this show. Ooh, that's a bad one. Excuse me just a moment. So yeah, at least accidentally stabbed myself in the thumb. That's embarrassing. Yeah, it's still welling up there. All right, on with the show. The show must go on. So since I stabbed myself in the thumb, the shock of that caused me to knock into the accessories a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. And I knocked the sword and the sheath onto my couch. Not a big deal. I was able to find that fairly easily. What looks like it's missing is the smaller pew-pew. So, we're gonna forego, because I don't feel like digging around for it. It might have fallen on my couch cushions. Oh no, wait, there we go. I found it. It was on my pants. It just landed in the fold of my pants, so I guess that's lucky. Man, I can't believe I did that. Always watch the whole video. You never know what kind of excitement you're going to see. You didn't think you were going to see this kind of violence, did you? No. I was watching this action figure video, and the dude just stabbed himself in the thumb with an X-Acto knife. It just kind of barely pricked the end of my thumb. It's like if you went to get a blood test at the doctor and they just kind of pricked the end of your finger with the needle. It basically did that. It's not like I'm gonna have to go to the hospital or anything, but I just kind of don't want to get blood all over my action figure, so I'm trying to wait until the wound clots up a little bit before I go too much further. But I can just do this one hand for a little bit. So there is Flash Gordon out of the package, and we can see that this one has a different HUD sculpt that's packaged with the figure, where he's wearing this, God, I don't even know what to call this thing. Like, you see Flash Gordon wear it in some of the older comic strips, and it's like is it a helmet? Is it a cowl? Is it a set of fancy headphones? I don't know. But, it's the sort of thing where, like, traditionally you see Flash Gordon wear this, so it's not like unusual. It's not something where you're like, why did they put this thing on him? No, it's I knocked over Flash Gordon's head too. Now I feel really bad because I lost his head. Did that fall in my couch cushions? I was willing to just kind of forego the pew pews, but I don't want to forego the extra head. There it is. I found it. Okay. It just fell underneath something. It happens. So, the joints seem, relatively tight like a new action figure should, but I don't think there's any that are, immobile so far. Not that I found. These knees are kind of stiff. And again, you never want to force any stiff joints that you have on an action figure. You always want to try to coax it easily, and if you can't get it to move, try hitting it with a hairdryer, or dip it in some warm water for a little bit and soften it up. Sometimes it helps to put it in the freezer and then put it in warm water, and if you've got like a really bad one, just kind of alternate it a little bit. So this knee seems like one of the double joints is like really stiff, so that's one that I might need to hit with a hairdryer later. But for the purposes of this review, you've got the ball joints at the shoulders, ball joint at the neck. We got an ab crunch here in the middle. Got a twisty waist. Legs go up about that far. They're just slightly hindered by the rubber trunks. Go back about that far. Again, just kind of slightly hindered by the rubber trunks. There is a swivel here at the crotch, about where Like at the hip, it's a ball joint, and the thigh is placed on that. So this is a really nice articulation scheme they've got going at the hips, kind of reminiscent of Masters of the Universe Classics, how they did it, and that's a good way to do it. I know that the Defenders of the Earth figures had like a different articulation scheme at the hips, and that apparently didn't work out quite so well. And then I got the double jointed knees, which this one's just a single jointed knee right now, but I'll get that freed up eventually. Uh, and then we got a boot cut here, and that one seems like it's a little stuck, but I got it. That's probably just from the paint. And then we got rocker ankles, nice rocker ankles, and then finally, just to show off, we got toe articulation. I would just feel like that's showing off. So let's look at some of the differences between this one and the Target figure. I keep calling it a Target figure, but I don't think it was exclusive to Target, actually. It's just I bought it at Target. So we can see that, just so that, I'm going to swap out the heads so that they're as similar as I can get them. And there, got his head on just fine. Alright, so there is Flash Gordon with the alternate head. So I'm not sure what head I'm going to wind up leaving on him, because, like, it would be nice to have, like, a little more... Since I got a different head, it would be, I guess, nice to have a different head on one of these figures. I might even put the newer head onto this figure. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, like I said, the paint scheme on the heads is kind of similar, but not exactly the same. Like, even now looking at it, like, the plastic almost looks kind of different, because this one almost has kind of like sort of a almost translucent, like a porcelain kind of quality almost. And that kind of adds to the softness of it. But this one is more, it looks like traditional action figure plastic, where it's that sort of, like, just kind of some Caucasian color plastic, without the translucent quality to it. It's not see-through. It's not like he's the Invisible Man, but it's like just translucent enough that it gives it kind of a realness, like how skin is just kind of barely translucent. This one looks kind of more action figure-y as far as like the kind of plastic they used. Does that make any sense? Did I explain that right? Okay, so I'm gonna swap out his hands too while I'm on it. So that way, when we get to put the accessories in his hands, we can go ahead and do that. And like I said, I like having gripping hands best anyway. See, to me, like a hand like this, like the one they have to grip his sword, it's close enough to a fist. I don't really need fist hands, And he can hold stuff. So that's good. I like that. So let's talk about more differences between these two figures. What strikes me is cool. What I like is that, like, the torsos are almost completely identical. Obviously there's going to be some differences in the airbrushing pattern, because it's just airbrushing. It's not going to be 100% consistent. But the red paint is the same color. I think the shading on the original Superheroes version is slightly darker, but not too noticeable, I don't think. So the red shirt with the gold collar, that's pretty much the same. The belts are obviously different, because this one is the original Mattel version just had a solid yellow belt, and they decided to make it 2 shades of yellow on this one to give it, I guess, a little more definition. But it's still all yellow. Like, you get the cummerbund kind of thing is more sort of canary yellow, and the belt itself is more sort of a goldenrod, but it's all yellow. This one has a black belt over a yellow cummerbund. This obviously, like I said, is more based on what he actually looked like on the cartoon. It's obviously supposed to be Flash Gordon from the comic strip, but it still, takes a lot of influence from how he looked on the cartoon, which he looked like he did in the comic strip on the cartoon, so that makes sense. But the irony is you have this one that supposedly the Filmation version but it looks more like the Mattel figure. So this one that's the comic strip actually winds up looking more like the Filmation version, even though it's not officially the Filmation version. It's all very confusing. So, uh, so the pants, I think, are where we get to the most difference. Because again, like I said, with the Mattel version, I guess just to be cheap, they gave him red trunks. So they would all of this was one solid piece of plastic on that one, like a Star Wars figure. So that way they wouldn't have to paint his pelvis black. They just made that all one solid piece of red, and then he had black pants, I believe, not blue pants, but whatever. This is a dark enough blue, I think it works. And this one, again, more like how it was on the cartoon, just a solid blue pants. Now, they are a much darker shade of blue than what he had on the cartoon, but, like I said, it's supposed to be like more of a realistic version of it. And it has this really nice metallic sheen to it that I think looks really cool. You could probably do a really cool figure of, like, Spider-Man's black costume, or Venom, or even like the Adam West style Batman with this kind of slightly metallic dark blue. I think it looks really cool, and it gives it that look of what you have in the comic books, of where something is black but with like a blue highlight, because the coloring wasn't as good back then, and they couldn't get that many colors. So they just, anything that was black had a blue highlight instead of, like, like a dark gray or whatever, because they just didn't have that many colors to work with. And then his pants, or his boots, are like a really dark brown. They almost look black to me, but it is in fact a dark brown. Whereas, going back to the Mattel inspired figure, he has silver boots, which I like that in that sort of old school sci-fi sort of way. It seems like you know uh, the sort of thing they did back then was they would just give a character silver boots because they're trying to make them look futuristic or whatever. So so that's nice. So since I now have all the accessories and I found everything that fell off of the laptop when I stabbed myself, let's go ahead and put the accessories in his hands and see what he looks like with them. So pretty excited about this because, like I said, kind of the one thing that bothered me about that one is the King Features. This is the King Features one. The Filmation Mattel style figure is like, I felt like he needed more accessories. Ooh, this is a tight fit getting this into his hand. I'm worried I'm gonna break it. But he's got this cool sword. And I really wanted that Flash Gordon to have a sword. Like, I kind of feel like, yeah, I know you were making it look like the vintage figure or whatever, but we can go ahead and give him a sword. Come on. So, man, he looks awesome dual wielding with both his sword and his ray gun. Now, I have no reason to believe that we can't fit the sword into the right hand. So I'm going to go ahead and try that real quick. And again, this is such a tight fit. I'm going to be really careful when I try to take this out of this. It's not like a flexible kind of plastic, like, that kind of nylon kind of plastic, like I like for weapons to be, where it's still rigid, but it has some give. It's more like an ABS kind of plastic. Yeah, he can hold that in this hand, even with the trigger finger. It doesn't interfere with it. And more importantly, since I now have it in one hand, let's see if we can get him into a cool two-handed pose. And it's going to be, I think, a little difficult, but I think it's doable. The only reason I think it's going to be difficult is because, like, even though his articulation is great, he just still have this very muscular, broad chest, and that's going to make him a little bit muscle-bound. It'd be nice if he had butterfly joints, but I'm not going to complain because he's already so well articulated anyway. Like, butterfly joints would just be like, just one more thing. I'd probably rather have the butterfly joints than the toe joints. If those are at least more practical. I kind of feel like toe joints, like I said, I just kind of feel like that's just showing off. Does anybody really use toe articulation? Maybe on, like, Spider-Man or something. But yeah, so I did manage to get him, as we can see, into a really cool two-handed pose. This is very Sam J. Jones reminiscent. That's pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, you can do that. that's a nice thing. Since we've shown that off and we know how well that fits, I'm just gonna leave that in this hand because, like I said, I kind of feel like that's I kind of feel like that's I don't want to take a chance on messing up that sword. It seems to be like the sort of thing, like if you were too rough with it, you could break it rather easily. It's these things must be handled delicately, as the Wicked Witch said. So I'll put the ray gun back in his hand, and let's go ahead, since we got the ray gun back in his hand, and see what the pew pews look like. So there is a notch in here, I think. Yeah. And that is, so there's like one way that this is going to fit on here. So that just kind of fits slightly over the barrel of the ray blaster, and there he is firing the ray gun. It looks like there's a little notch. I don't know. It'd be so tiny. And then we've got this one. That one definitely has a notch on it. I can see that a little bit easier. So that notch should fit around the sight on the front of the gun. I'm having a hard time getting it on there, though. Sorry for the blank screen for a minute. I'm just kind of trying to use my ceiling lamp as best as possible, but there we go. I got it on there. So there's the longer pew pew, so he can actually be hitting something and have an impact. So that's kind of cool. Those are nice little accessories. And then the last accessory I have to look at is the sheath for the sword. And I'm not going to, because like I said, I don't want to take a sword out of his hand more than I have to. I'm not going to use it as in its intended purpose and put the sword in the sheath on the belt. And you can see there's a little peg hole here where that's where the sheath is supposed to fit in there. And from what I understand, from what I've heard in like other reviews, it doesn't stay in there like quite as well as you might want it to. But you know, you can take it, you can glue it in there or something if you really want it to be permanent. But I think I would probably only have that on there if I was gonna, have them just for display, and if I was gonna like, take them down and pose them or whatever, let my nephew play with them. Probably not a good idea since like this is not really a children's toy, but if you were to do something like that, you could always just take the sheath and set it aside. I'd probably set the sword aside to play with the sword because, like I said, it just feels like it'd be kind of delicate to me. So, but yeah, that's what that looks like in the belt. And since I don't want to take it out of his hand, I'm going to take it back off of his belt, and we're just going to put the sheath on the sword like this. So there's like a really nice paint job on here. Like we can see like it's mostly blue with some gold, and you can see like there's some really good detailing with like this gold trim and kind of the rings at the end of the points. Like that's really nicely done. It's just like nice attention to detail. And let me look at this the hilt on this sword, and that's crazy. Like they probably could have just made a sword with a silver blade and a gold hilt and called it a day. Nobody would have complained. But no, you can see like there's these red gems in the tips. There's blue that helps carry through into the blue of the sheath. It's not the same exact shade of blue. It's like slightly lighter and a little more metallic, but it's still like a nice unifying element to it, I feel. And then you've got that down at the pommel of the sword, and then more gold at the end of the pommel, and then at the very tip of it, you have another red gem. So that is a lot of paint detailing that they put into this accessory. They went the extra mile on that. Like I said, they probably could have just done that in like 2 shades of paint and nobody would have complained. Everybody would have been, oh, that's a cool looking sword just from the sculpt of it. But no, like they went all out on the paint apps just on the sword. And that's really cool to me. I really like that. So let's go ahead, and one last thing we can do is he's got this cool holster on his belt. And I can't tell, I think it's glued on. Yeah, it's glued on. So this belt is a little bit different also from that vintage card figure in that it's got the hole for the sheath to plug into, and it's got this holster glued onto it. Neither one of those things did the Filmation figure have. So there we go. I got the blaster to go in there, but it looks like not all the way. I think I gotta kind of force it in there a little bit. So it looks like to me, at least on my version, this I'm having a hard time getting this closed because like this is in there really snugly, and I don't want to force it in there any further because I'm kind of worried about messing up the scope on the gun. But I couldn't quite get the flap to close on the holster while the gun was in there. So, but that just might be a problem with mine. I don't know. And it might be just a problem with, like, I don't want to force it. Maybe I should try to put it in there further. Maybe if I heated it up, that would soften it up enough that I could get the blaster in there all the way and then get the flap closed. But that just seems like a lot of production to go through. So I think I'll probably just... He'll just be displayed holding the blaster in his hand anyway. I think this is a good pose for him, and that's how he's going to stand on my shelf. So, pretty simple, basic, very heroic. Gun in one hand, sword in the other. This is how I think of Flash Gordon. It is very much the classic sort of hero. And I'm really happy with this figure. This is, as much as I liked that vintage carded figure, and I loved that one, this one is just, just the amount of accessories made that figure way better than the first one that I had. So I'm really happy that I was able to get this figure. I'm glad to have both, because like I said, I really like the color scheme on that one and how it's kind of like old school sci-fi with the silver boots and everything. And this has like more of a realistic feel to it to me. Like, if Flash Gordon was a real guy, he'd probably look something like this. So, and then, you've got the extra hands so he can hold his weapons. You've got a sheath and a holster so we can fit all of the accessories onto the figure at the same time. At least all of his weapons. Maybe not. You obviously can't fit both pew pews because you can only fit one of those onto onto the gun at a time, and he can't have two heads. So we got to find something to do with the extra head when we're not using it. But I'm really happy with these figures and how they turned out. I think they're really cool, and but I like this one better than the first one that I had because it addressed a lot of the I wouldn't say problems, but it kind of put a lot of the stuff into there that I wish they had put into that figure in the first place. So I definitely recommend the original Superheroes Flash Gordon figure. Like, if you don't have a Flash Gordon figure, to me, this is the one to buy. If you already have the Filmation card version, the vintage card, the Mattel version, still get this one. He's worth getting just to have those extra accessories. Now, actually his belt isn't black. It's that same metallic blue as the pants. I just thought it looked like black at a glance, and with a contrast to the yellow. But no, it's got that same sheen to it, so that's kind of cool. Is that the same sheen that's on the gun? His gun matches his pants. Man, this dude knows how to accessorize. And the holster matches the boots. Now, I figure a lot of this is because, why use more than one color paint if we don't have to? But it was spaced out in such a way I didn't even really notice it at first. But yeah, if you only get one Flash Gordon figure, get this one. I don't have the Defenders of the Earth Flash Gordon. I still hope to get it at one point because I've got a lot of affection for that old cartoon, and the figure itself is really cool. It has that more sort of military look to the figure that I like. And of course, there's also going to be a Walmart exclusive where it's a 2-pack of Flash and Ming, but they're repainted into the movie colors, which is kind of strange to me because it's not like it's not like head sculpts that look like Sam J. Jones. It's the same Flash Gordon head sculpt that this one with the Alex Raymond type of haircut. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the intention was there. Just trying to get more use out of this mold, I guess. But I'm not going to complain. I still think it's a cool looking figure, and I'd still like to have it. the Ming figure honestly is the one that excites me the most out of those two. But anyway, I've been rambling on about this thing for like 40 minutes now, so we're gonna call it a day here because I've still got two more figures to do, and I've got to leave for work in like half an hour. So I might wind up having to do the Phantom like tomorrow or something. We'll talk to you later. Bye.